Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Wilson, and my partner is Toy Romero, and together we're going to go over the policy process with you. Steps in the policy cycle. The policy cycle is an iterative process. The first step is defining the problem and setting the agenda. In this step, the problem is framed to fit the agenda of a particular decision-making group. This definition must be data-driven and persuasive based on the nature of the problem, including the causes, effects, and extent of the problem, and it must be comprehensive yet succinct and straightforward. Step 2. The policy alternative will be constructed. Once the policy landscape is thoroughly analyzed, policy options can be considered and then formed. In this step, an elaboration on what is being done and what is being suggested will appear. Step 3. The preferred policy option is selected. Here, an evaluation of the preferred policy option will take place based on effectiveness, efficiency, equity, feasibility, implementability, and flexibility and probability. Step 4. The policy design is detailed. This means utilizing a policy instrument to deliver the services detailed in the policy because at this point, the policy has been accepted and is ready to be delivered to the group it is impacting. A policy instrument can come in the form of an agency or organization that is authorized to implement and monitor this type of policy arena. Step 5. The policy is implemented and monitored. Data is collected, which will be used to provide insight on the outcomes of the policy that has been implemented. And lastly, step 6, policy implementation is evaluated. The data gathered in step 5 will be analyzed to determine the effectiveness of the policy. Defining the problem. Defining a problem for a policy paper means framing the problem in a language that the target audience will understand and which meets their political agenda and formatting it in a concise, data-driven statement. An example of a problem definition. Louisiana has the highest rate of toxic industrial air pollution in the United States, due in part to the high number of oil refineries and petrochemical facilities that are densely packed into the state's industrial quarter, otherwise known as Cancer Alley. The high rate of emissions occurs in parishes with predominantly Black residents, resulting in widespread air quality degradation and health risks that disproportionately afflict Black communities. A current policy and an alternative policy. A current policy is, here in the United States, the Inflation Reduction Act, Section 60105, aims to reduce air pollution at the fence line of industrial facilities and establishes a community monitoring system. An alternative, to develop a requisite buffer zone between communities and industrial facilities instead of monitoring at the facility's fence line. This has been done in St. James Parish, Louisiana. Ordinance 14-03 establishes a 2-mile buffer between industrial facilities and schools. Considerations when selecting a policy option. First, determine if all options have been considered. Once thorough investigation has been completed, the most convincing option should be the preferred policy option proposed. There are specific elements of investigating a policy option. The first being effectiveness. How effective can the policy be in solving the problem? 2. Efficiency. A cost-benefit analysis will be conducted and based on both monetary and societal costs. The third is equity. How fair will the impacts be on society? Fourth, feasibility, implementability. What is the political landscape like, and which policy instruments are available that will allow for feasible implementation of the proposed policy? And lastly, flexibility and probability. Can the policy be flexible so that it may be improved to allow for further alternative solutions? What is the role of the policy paper in the policymaking process? The role is to bridge academia and policymakers, target audiences, specifically policy specialists, experts, think tanks, to persuade policymakers, and to provide clear recommendations and a decision-making tool. Common structural elements in a policy paper. Policy papers are written with very common structural elements such as professionally, not academically written, headings and subheadings, specific style guide and organization brand, bullets and numbering, graphs and tables, footnotes, use of an appendix, and extremely clear and easy to follow. Additionally, the ICPA also recommends a title that is attention grabbing, an executive summary that is also attention grabbing, and is a 2-paragraph summary with clear statements about which is included in the paper. Rationale for action on the problem, why intervention is necessary for the problem defined, a proposed policy option, policy recommendation, resources, link to original research and analysis, and lastly, contact details. Thank you, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the presentation and learned more about the policy process.